Okie dokie, and we are live.
That's my roommate. That's awkward, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
What are the odds, you know? Like,
What up?
just happened.
I got it. Do it.
Look at this guy. Look at him struggling over there. Look at him. He's dying.
Hey, you
inside.
get. I mean, take all the time you want. It's our room. Like it's like your room also.
He's dying. Look at him.
Yeah.
You see that? His soul is literally leaving his body right there. Look at his eyes. Look at his eyes. He's dying. It's wild. I'm muted. He can't hear me. By the way, he's probably questioning who I'm talking to.
I can't hear what you're saying.
Oh yeah, there we go. But anyway, welcome on back, everybody, to Comic Conquest. Today we have a special guest of Cole's roommate. Just kidding, he's not here. He's not cool enough. But today we are back with Moon Knight. Summon the suit and drink the Sprite. Today's a pretty good episode, and I think I hit some of those predictions. What do you say, Cole, with your mouth full of Sprite?
What was the predictions last week?
One of the big predictions was that Marc is Moon Knight.
Yep.
Not Moon Knight is Moon Knight. Which
yep.
I think
seems to be correct.
Yeah. There was also the prediction that they were going to explain a lot of things. I think we should keep the debate here for the whole Marc Moon Knight later.
Yeah.
But
we'll just hop straight into like the part of the episode.
Yeah,
right?
let's what happens, Cole. Like it's very simple, but like good.
Yep, it starts up and our boy Stevie Weeby's in the bed. He wakes up, freaks out, jumps out of bed, chained up. He's like, "Oh, we're good. Just a dream." And he rolls back up to. He's like, "Gotta go to work." And he's like, "What the fuck happened?" Like he slowly started to realize what happened was real as like he sees them fixing the bathroom, and he sees the security guy and is like, he's like, "I'm about to go review the footage. You want to come?" And then they review the footage. He's like, "Are you ready? You're gonna see it happen. You're gonna see it. You're gonna see it." And then it never happens. It's just him going into the bathroom, destroying it, and leaving. And then we see the camera of I guess this is like an MCU trope now that like the hero looks up at the camera or something. But we see him not, and then he's like, "It's just you," leaving the bathroom. He goes, "That's not me." And we then go. Where do we go from there?
We go back.
He gets fired.
And they
they're like,
take
"You
his
need
name
help."
tag. Yeah, they're like, "Yo, you're fucking insane, and we have we have some great doctors, maybe." He's like, yeah. He's like, "Okay, cool." And so he goes back to his room, and then Layla shows up somewhere along the way.
No, so he goes back and he gets the storage unit key.
That's right.
He goes from all these storage unit places. He ends up finding the storage unit, and it's just like a cot, a bag full of money, and Mark Spector's passport and a gun, and some other like closets full of bullshit or whatever. And he starts freaking out because he's like, and the scare. And he's like, he starts freaking out, and then he's like, I'm
gonna go turn all of this stuff into the police.
Yeah.
And then Mark's like, don't try that. It's not. And Steve's like, "I'm gonna fucking do it." And he starts to go, and then like all the lights start to flicker, and then Khonshu's just like, "Look here, you little shit." No.
And we also get a little history about Marc and Khonshu. He's like, "I made a deal." But we get more of that later in the episode when Marc turned. And we then see. He sees him running, and then he runs outside. Then we see Layla, and Layla's like, "Marc, where were you? I love you. Why are you talking with an accent?" And he's like, "I'm scared." And then they go back to the apartment or whatever, and then the police come.
And then they're like, "Yeah, but like, whoa, you're gonna flee the country or something?"
And then they're driving, and he's like, "Isn't the police station that way?" And they're like,
"Why would we go there?"
Going to the police station. And then we get the reveal that the police are...
They're children of Ahmed or whatever.
Yeah, and then they pull up to the Ahmed neighborhood, or whatever the fuck that place was.
A cult. That would be a
Yes.
cult.
Yes, you would be correct. And Ethan Hawke, forget his character's name again.
Arthur Harrow.
Arthur Harrow comes out and he's like,
Yo, what's up, my guy?
What? And then he's like, I was in your position at one time. I heard
all those
Khonshu
voices.
too.
Yeah, fucking Khonshu.
Yeah, I know.
He's like,
don't fucking listen to him.
He's like, what's Khonshu saying right now? Break his neck, punch him in the throat.
Him right now. That's a privilege I no longer have.
Kill him. Break his windpipe.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't need to listen to him. And then Khonshu's like, ah!
And it was honestly, as corny as it sounds, I thought it was a really funny dynamic to relieve the tension of you're in a cult right now. It was a good way to misdirect some of that negative energy. That was oddly spiritual of me to say.
And we also learned that Khonshu can't really affect anything but blow stuff over. So that's why Arthur's like, no, don't worry about it.
He can't do anything without his fist of vengeance.
Yeah, you're the only guy. You don't even have to listen to him. He's like talking to me. He's like, look at those tomatoes. Look at George's tomatoes. They're so good. And Beth, you know what? Fuck Beth, actually. But anyway, we're gonna go watch a movie.
Is that the goat?
Yeah. So then they go to this little church area, big hall. They're watching movies. They're eating some good vegan soup because Arthur Harrow is also a vegan weirdo, and they're eating. He's like, yeah, this is great. Where the fuck's the scarab, by the way? I'd really appreciate it if you handed it over right now.
And everybody in the room slowly starts to get up and start to circle, and Steve's eating soup, and he's like,
I'd love to give it to you, but I don't have it.
And that's when Layla shows up.
And then Layla shows up. She's like, "Look at me! I've got it. I got."
We also find out what the scarab does.
It's a compass to the tomb of Ahmed.
And we also get to see Arthur's staff, or his cane, I guess. Do its. He starts to explain that this is
a fraction.
Of Ahmed's power, and he starts to summon the jackals or whatever.
Yeah, it's a jackal. That's what it was.
And they run, and they're running, and Layla's like, "Summon the suit, Mark." And Steve's like, "I don't know what are you talking about." And he's also kind of having a mental breakdown.
Yeah. And by the way, Steve's the only one who can see the jackal.
Yeah.
Him and Arthur, I assume. But
yes,
they're the only ones that can see that. So Layla's like, "The fuck are you? What's going on?" So Steve's having a freak out, and Layla's screaming at him to summon the suit to beat the shit out of him. He's like, "I don't know what that means." And then
Mark's also in a mirror, "We have the body.
Give me control."
And Steve's like, "No." And I forget, does he jump out the window or does he get pushed out the window?
Jackal breaks through and fucking bitch slaps him through the window, and Mark's just like, "Summon the fucking suit!" and then he lands in the superhero pose,
and he's
Mr. Knight. And he falls over.
Yep. Apparently improvised by Oscar Isaac, the falling over thing.
That's funny. That's funny.
And then we see the Mr. Knight suit for the first time. Yeah. And I'll stick to it. These Phase 4 suits, dude, I mean...
They don't miss.
They have not missed. I am a little upset, though, I think, about what is happening here. Moon Knight is not a identity. It's just the name of the superhero, suit. I guess. Yeah, of the suit. And we find out that Mark's interpretation of the suit has the cape. It's the classic.
Well, his is, I think he calls it the traditional armor of Khonshu or something like that. And Steve doesn't know what the fuck that is, so he's like, a suit. So, what's a suit? A suit.
Suit.
Which is kind of funny.
I guess. Yeah. And we also got to see the two batons.
Yeah, he's got the Eskrima sticks.
And I obviously don't like this. Whatever's happening here, I'm not the biggest fan.
Yeah, I mean, we see that the suit gives enhanced strength, speed. It kind of buffs him up. And I'm not, like, I'd be okay if it was a little bit, and it doesn't seem to be too much currently.
It's not like Steve Rogers pull a helicopter.
Yeah, like, he crushed a bumper. Bumpers aren't, like, thick.
I mean, they're steel. I mean,
yeah,
it's
but
supposed
they're
to
not,
take an impact.
They're not, like,
I'm just...
thick.
I'm upset first. Okay, well, we'll get into it right now. First of all, Mr. Knight is such a bad guy, and we have idiot Steve. I felt like Khonshu last episode.
No, you fucking idiot.
The fucking idiot's back. And I don't like how they're going about this. First of all, we'll talk about it. The superpowers. I'm not the biggest fan of Moon Knight's superpowers. I have a theory for what's gonna happen in the predictions, so stay tuned.
I have a prediction too.
And I think we'll probably talk about it more there, but we saw enhanced strength, super speed, or not, it wasn't like, it was enhanced human reflexes,
Yeah.
I'd probably say. He was just an enhanced human.
Yeah.
And the fight scene with the Jackal was cool, I thought. The concept that he's invisible the whole time as they're fighting, I thought that was dope. But Steven is not a superhero, obviously. Not yet, at least. And he obviously has no idea how to fight. He did take off the coat, which I thought was cool, and rolled up the sleeves. And the whole time, Mark's like, let me have the body. And I thought Mark was going to take over as Mr. Knight and just start wailing on the guy or something. Didn't happen quite like that. And Steven's, of course, like, it's his first time, so he's freaking out. Things are happening. And everybody's coming outside because they're like, there's this crazy guy in an all-white suit punching the air.
I think they say it. They're like, oh, look, not all drug users are.
They're like, look at the drippy drug user.
The posh drug user.
And then Steven's like
he gets thrown into a bus.
Yeah, he realizes that he has to save people's lives. He kind of has to give up to Mark. And Mark takes over, and then we see that scene from the trailer where the suit, the traditional, we'll just keep calling it the traditional suit, the Moon Knight traditional suit engulfs Mr. Knight, actually. It engulfs that suit and becomes Mark.
Yeah. And
then we see the thing where he pulls the things and he's running and jumping and being Moon Knight, I guess, if that's what we want to call Moon Knight. And they run and they Jackal and kill Jackal and the night.
And we're talking to Mark, and Steven's like freaking out because he's in the mirror world, and Mark's like, yeah, there was a wall, but now there isn't. And then Khonshu's like, hey, you said that little shit wasn't gonna get in the way, and now he is. Maybe I should just go to your replacement, Layla. And Mark's like, no.
I think this was what I liked. I liked that they set that up because it's his reason to be, like, they gave him a real reason to keep being a hero.
Yeah.
Hero. He wakes up and
a fucking crazy man.
Yeah, he has a reason to keep this Moon Knight persona. And we got to see a lot of Mark at the end. I like how much I love Oscar Isaac. He's able to differentiate these two characters. They feel like two completely different people, and I like 100%. That a lot. And then we get to see a little of Mark's anger issues as he's fucking kicking in the mirror.
Steven won't shut up.
And then Khonshu's like, Mark's like, well, what do we got to do? And then Khonshu's like, you know where we have to go. And it cuts
because they lost the scarab, and Arthur Harrow found it, and now they're going to Egypt, and
it cuts to him in Egypt being an alcoholic on the floor, like.
And Steven's in the mirror with bloody hands, because he's punching it, trying to get out or some shit. I don't know. But anyway, that's about it for it's a very, I guess, quick episode. It's really
it's a very simple. It's actually a long episode. It's like 50 minutes, but the plot's simple. And if you saw it, you know what happened. And we'll get straight to the review. August, how do we feel about this?
I liked it, but I thought the whole Mr. Knight thing is really getting at me. But I do think if I'll do like a retroactive shift if my prediction is correct. But currently, I think it's around a 7.5. I mean, I'm still really enjoying it. It's like really well done, but like, it's just small things that are like kind of taking me out of it.
7.5. I'm gonna stick with that around the same score. And I'm the same reason. This Mr. Knight thing is really throwing me off. I think they could correct it though. We'll get into that in a second. But I'll just say the cinematography for this series has been really unique,
Oh,
and I
100%.
really enjoy the uniqueness because as much as I love something like Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki, it feels like very MCU style. And this show, they're really trying to step up and kind of maybe step away from the traditional like outlook. The way they shot some of these scenes was really cool. Of course, that scene where he's running in the storage unit from Khonshu, it's just very unique the way that they're shooting it. And of course, the fight scenes I think have been kind of unique.
Yeah. Hope we get some more of those.
Yeah.
Too.
So I'm excited for this show. Of course, I think it's just gonna be an exponential growth. I'm hoping.
100%.
And we'll get to the predictions, August. We both have a couple, I think. I'll let you go first. What are we thinking?
All right. In terms of Moon Knight and Mr. Knight not being a separate personality, I think that's going to be a story beat, especially for Mr. Knight. I think since it looks like Mark summons Moon Knight and Steven will be summoning Mr. Knight, and if I'm going off of marketing, it seems like Mr. Knight's going to be in here more and more. I think that Steven is going to start dissociating between himself and Mr. Knight to the point where Mr. Knight comes into being and becomes a personality in himself. So he becomes the more confident like version of Steven that's the like gangster, almost like gangster guy that deals with like in a business kind of way. And I almost think that same idea can be applied to Mark and Moon Knight, because Mark clearly doesn't want to be Moon Knight but has to be Moon Knight. So I feel like he might also start to dissociate and create another personality so that he can continue being Moon Knight, but Mark himself doesn't have to be. So I feel like it'll be a story point where the two of them are like kind of relating to each other and the fact that they don't want to be this person, so they create another person to take that over.
That's I think you said it perfectly. I think this is how you relate Mark and Steven together to make them come together, is that they don't want to be what they are and they're kind of forced to be, and that's a bonding point for them. I want to talk about third personality that we have not seen yet. The taxi driver, I forget his name. There's a lot of rumors that they might be hiding something, that there's another this other personality and this other Moon Knight suit. I don't know how true any of that is. They're juggling a lot right now with they've obviously tried to simplify it by making these people interpretations of the suit. How do we feel about if they throw in another interpretation of the suit? People are saying that we might see that armor. You know what I'm talking about?
Black and white one?
Yeah, the black and white with the black like under with the white armor.
Are they saying that it's gonna be like a modern style, or is it?
Like the new 2013-ish.
Yeah. I'd say save
that, and that the other other personality will come out and have that suit.
I'd say save that.
So my idea is that we only have 4 episodes left of this. I can't imagine they introduce if they didn't introduce him during this episode, I just don't think we'll see him.
That's why I think like the Mr. Knight thing is possible, because they introduced him, and I think I think Mr. Knight being a separate personality is more likely than Moon Knight being separate.
Yes. And to get into the things with the powers and stuff, as we said last episode, I believe, the MCU, the scaling of this stuff is so massive. That's why they have to give Shang-Chi the 10 rings. I think Moon Knight is going to have to keep his powers, which it hurts me to say a little bit. Of course, he's not the strongest or the fastest or whatever, but he's going to have some powers to be able to keep up. with some of these guys, or else he's just a crazy guy in a white suit beating the shit out of someone, right?
But that's what
Which
we
is like my
want.
favorite part of that. But like once we get to the secret wars or these next events, I think he's gonna have to have powers. Now, if they do, what I'm kind of a little bit hoping for is that they're kind of hinting at Khonshu's not the best guy.
Kill him.
Definitely, 100%. Arthur
And-
keeps saying
yeah.
that Khonshu's just like a big baby, and none of the gods took him seriously.
And Ahmed's not the first person either, but
No.
Khonshu's not great also. And I think what we'll see is in the comics, I forget which the story was called, guys. Don't roast me. But there was a point where Mark becomes the Phoenix, which is like a whole other thing. If you don't know what the Phoenix is,
It's
half the
X-Men
people.
bullshit. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And Mark becomes the Phoenix. And Khonshu's like, okay, now that we have this superpower, we're wiping the whole world out. And then like he just decides, because of course, as Arthur mentioned, Khonshu really doesn't have any control over it. You have to listen to Khonshu.
Yeah.
So Moon Knight just decides, fuck Khonshu. And he breaks kind of like he doesn't fully break the connection, but he breaks it kind of. But he can't use like all the powers that he's supposed to have. So I hope that that's maybe a dynamic they throw in there, that maybe he can summon the suit, but he's not fully connected with Khonshu. And then when we have these big super threats, like I'm Secret Wars, I think is bound to happen eventually. So once we have our next
Avengers level threat.
Moon Knight could reconnect with Khonshu and be like, hey, we need this power now because the world's gonna die. Make me a little bit stronger, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think either it'll be something like that where Mark and Steven are like, you know what, fuck you, and then the Khonshu's like, fine, or Steve and Mark fuck up somehow, right? And then Khonshu's like, I punish you by taking your powers, but you cannot die.
Oh shit, that'd be crazy
and
too.
you will listen, and you must continue as my fist of vengeance, but you must do so as Florida Man. I will supply you with the suits and inability to die, for this is your punishment. Because at no point has Khonshu taunted like, you can't even die, you little shit.
Yeah.
He's only been like, you would be dead without me. So I definitely think that
They're definitely hinting towards that a little bit.
I feel like it would be a total Khonshu move to just be like, you know what, you little shits, fuck you. And I think that would work.
I think that would work too. I think both those are valid. I'm interested to see where they take it. Now we got to talk about Arthur. And what's kind of happening there. Of course, he kind of hinted that he used to be Moon Knight. But he's obviously trying to summon. Well, he directly said it. He's trying to summon Ahmed. What do we think about that? What do you think?
I think a giant purple laser is going to be shot into the sky from a pyramid. We're going to go like Revenge of the Fallen style. Pyramids shoot lasers.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I think
I legitimately think that's gonna happen. I think they're gonna try to break open a portal and
definitely breaking. He's gonna like put his staff into some rock, right? And it's gonna start to open the thing wider so that Ahmed can come in, and then fucking Moon Knight will Florida Man his way through a pyramid or some shit.
Do we?
And fucking he's gonna yeet him. Moon Knight is gonna throw Arthur Harrow into the same dimension as Ahmed. Take the staff, snap it.
Okay.
If I'm correct, then I want $20.
It sounds
somewhere.
legitimate, because I seriously can't imagine this version of Moon Knight fighting an Egyptian god. I just don't see it happening. But what do I know, right? I'm just a stupid kid that reads books. So we'll see. I think. Do you have anything else to add?
I don't know. I I'd rather them save Taximan and Black Suit Moon Knight for
another
installation of this
of Moon
character.
Knight. Yeah. I think you're right. I'm interested to see where this character ends up because, of course, we find out Oscar Isaac is not contractually obligated to be in the MCU after this. I'm sure he will be because this character.
It's doing well so far.
Yeah. I'm interested to see if he ends up in New York or something like that. Where this character goes, or maybe he ends up with Blade or something. I don't know.
Blade. They could do like Midnight Suns or Dark Avengers. Last thing before we go, because we'll probably just keep bullshitting. Yeah, I hope we get some of that darker stuff that we were teased, that Kevin was like, it's coming. I would love to see the like little bits of Mark just fucking people up.
I'm hoping they set up something with Blade, and of course we didn't see Blade, we heard Blade at the end of Eternals with the Ebony Knight. Black Knight at the Ebony Blade. I hope we see more of that at the end of this. I'm kind of banking on that because I'm hoping we get a Dark Avengers team set up or a Midnight Sun or something. I think it's bound to happen with how many darker, edgier characters they're throwing in. So we'll see. I think that's probably it for us.
That's about it. So remember, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know your Moon Knight theories down below. Are you enjoying it so far? Does the powers bother you, or does it not? Let us know.
Let us know. And do you think we'll see the taxi driver? Do you think they'll split up these personalities? We're curious to see.
Let's go. But anyway, thanks guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Or actually probably just tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye.